Welcome back to Factory Sealed. It is April 12th, 2016. My name's Eric Peters, and joining me today, Miss Jess Clarkson.
Hello.
Hi, Jess.
Hi.
You're feeling awfully Canadian today, it sounds like.
Yeah, I haven't been working on my terrible British accent.
That was your British accent? I thought that was just your normal.
No, that was my normal, but instead of putting on a terrible British accent.
Oh. We've got Mr. Tom Reagan.
Pip, pip, hello?
Who does an incredible old lady British accent.
Yes, Mad Dog is a woman.
Okay, Mad Dog.
Face, in my face, what are you fucking pop with it?
Where are you, Dan? Where is he?
Dan is in the land down under.
Australia.
I almost
That's a long way.
So I don't think he'll listen to this for at least a month, so hopefully by then he'll just forgive me for this. I don't think he realizes that. So let me back up. When you abbreviate Australia, what do people call it?
Oz.
Oz. How do you spell that?
OZ.
No, wrong. That's Oz.
No.
It's
No.
AUS.
Yeah, but colloquially everyone just says Oz.
Yeah, but it's like Australia, Oz. Aussie,
Yeah.
AUSSIE. Where do you switch it to OZ?
I feel like it's a thing.
It just
It's
is a thing. Like, it is. Oz. OZ. But you can use AUS, but then you might as well just stick in the trailer.
I suppose I could see that.
Few extra letters.
See, maybe that's just my misunderstanding then. I always just assumed it's just Oz. Like they call them Aussies, AUSSIE, so just Oz, AUS.
I have no doubt that Scale will correct all of us.
Oh, shit.
Lonely Planet says it can be OZ.
That's so wrong. Like Oz is from the Wizard of Oz. It's a magical land, and I'm pretty sure Australia is anything but magical.
It has its fair share of magic, I imagine.
Giant spiders,
Yeah.
houses that spontaneously combust,
Yeah.
Aborigines, boomerangs,
Kangaroos.
Steve Irwin. He's pretty
Koala
magical.
bears.
Oh, koala bears.
Drop bears.
Bambi.
The blue-ringed octopus.
The Great Barrier Reef.
Vegemite?
Vegemite. Have you guys ever had Vegemite?
No.
It is.
I've had Marmite, which is very similar.
I wish I could say I enjoyed it, but it's actually a very acquired taste that is pretty disgusting.
Yeah, it's
Isn't
very
it like
hot.
super salty and
It's basically yeast, is all it is.
The adverts here, like the slogan is, you either love it or you hate it, because it's so divisive as to whether you enjoy Marmite or not.
Apparently,
does it
it's
smell yeasty?
very.
Yeah.
Oh.
One of our listeners sent me a care package with a jar of Vegemite in it.
Oh yeah.
But apparently, it's as common down there as butter is on the table here.
I can imagine that. It's pretty common here. So I hate it personally.
I've never seen Vegemite or Marmite anywhere
No.
here.
We have like Tim Tams, which apparently are Australian, which are cookies. So there's no yeastiness about them.
Good lord.
Tim Tams.
Tim
Are those
Tams.
cookies or biscuits?
Oh shit.
Let me look at a picture and I will make the call. Tim Tams. Those are cookies.
Oh god, I guess I better weigh in on this.
If you say it's a biscuit, I swear I am pulling my offer of letting you live here.
That's a biscuit. That's way more a biscuit than anything else. I don't know what the hell you're on about. That is a biscuit.
It's
dude.
less like chocolate chip cookie and more
Yeah, that
Christmas
is a
biscuity.
biscuit.
It's okay. We'll go with a candy bar.
A
Yeah,
candy
okay,
bar.
it's probably closer
What?
to a candy bar than a
Yeah.
cookie for sure.
So I'm giving you a heads up, Tom. I don't know if many people know, but if you do consider moving here or do move here, you're going to have to get your cookie biscuit shit straight.
No, I think I'll fight that one till the day I die.
I'll break you.
Like a Tim Tam in half.
There will come a day when you will go to the local Fry's and you will go to the refrigerated biscuit section. Grab yourself a cart full of pressurized biscuits and enjoy them in the morning with some butter and jam.
I think you'll find I'll be doing my shopping at Whole Foods.
I'm gonna
Or
go
Trader
to
Joe's.
Oh God! Of course
We
you
don't
would
have
shop at Trader Joe's.
I've never been to one, and I want to. It's
Because
my
you
life
shower
goal.
and you wear closed-toed shoes. Trader Joe's is pretty cool.
These references are lost on me. I don't know what Trader Joe's is.
Oh,
It's basically like a new age hippie
crunchy,
grocery
hippy
store.
dippy,
Yeah,
Hippy dippy.
hippy dippy.
I don't know what hippy dippy is.
That clarifies everything.
Hippies,
Still.
hippy dippy, crunchy,
Everything
hipstery.
is vegan, organic,
Oh, okay, got you. So it's kind of like a Whole
and
Foods.
everybody in there talks to you about. They want to make sure that you know that they're vegan, even though you didn't ask. Everything is labeled as organic, even if it's not.
Gluten free.
Oh, absolutely! Like gluten, check yourself at the door.
Yeah.
It's all cage-free, range-raised animals.
I only buy free range eggs
Me too.
because
I do free run. Apparently, it's more intense.
I never
I got
known
I
that.
go to
sucked into that
Costco.
marketing.
I go to Costco and I buy the 18 pack for $1.39, and I enjoy all 18 of them.
Yeah, my eggs are like $6.99.
No thanks. That's
Mine are
dumb.
one. How many do you get for $6.99? No thanks, that's dumb. 12 for $6.99.
But they're
Oh my god!
the free run
That's a lot.
organic omega
Yeah.
3.
I buy 6 for $1.30, and they're the free roam. But maybe not like. I mean, you always get the 100-meter track. Is that what I'm thinking right now?
They get like fanned as well.
They
but
get
$6.99
carried around
Canadian
on a
is,
litter.
like,
They're
Yeah.
the Jeeves of chickens and hens. Pass me more seed. Yeah, have an egg to lay.
Don't fertilize that one. That one's going to the servants, also known as the humans. They're going to eat my poop eggs.
And
You
are you
really pay $7 a dozen.
Canadian.
That's
so
even
like
more
50
American.
cents. What?
What is that in American? Like $1 million?
75 cents.
Yeah. Let's see.
Couple nickels, couple dimes.
$7. Oh, $5.50 American for a dozen eggs.
5.5.
How rich
Eric-
are you?
It's a lifestyle
Wait.
choice.
It's because we had friggin' chickens at our house, and they were so happy when they would run around outside and like eat grass, and we would hang out with them. And so I can't buy eggs from chickens that are just stuck in little cages and are so sad.
It is true. I lived with my aunt and uncle for a while, and they had chickens, and those eggs were the best. They were
Yes.
small, though.
Yeah.
So not
Yeah,
only
they're
are
not
you
like
getting
the jumbo-y ones.
fewer, you're getting fewer smaller eggs. So it's like a slap followed by a dick punch.
You're more a quantity guy over quality. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, Tom, again, America.
America.
How much can I get for as little money as possible?
Got you.
Yeah.
That scooter conversation killed me.
Scooter conversation.
Or wheelchair. The child with the wheelchair.
Oh, God, yes.
What was that about?
So I was walking into Ross with Christy last weekend. And Ross it's like a TJ Maxx, Marshall's, just kind of a discount store. And this family is walking in, and this girl, I mean, just from perception, everybody in the family looked normal, but this girl just looked at her mom and it's like, I really want to be in a wheelchair one day. What?
Oh my God. Well, the aspirations
Yeah.
of youth.
Followed very closely that same day. It's either the same day or our next visit there by this mother who told her boy, no, you can't have something. So being a good mom, teaching her son a lesson, walked away from it. The boy started to cry and saying, I'm going to shoot you.
And
America.
Speaking of shooting, did you guys see that arms manufacturer that conditioned a Glock to look like the Nintendo Zapper?
no.
Yeah. It looked pretty sweet, to be fair.
Just when I thought people as a whole could not find anything more pointless to get offended over, this thing pops up and people lose their minds.
What were people saying?
Everything about how irresponsible it is.
Is it because you're dressing a firearm to look like a toy?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Which there is kind of a valid point, because we do have laws in place that prevent toy guns from looking like real guns, so why not vice versa? But still, everybody just immediately goes to, this offends me. It's like, who cares? I mean, no,
But
like,
to
who
be
really cares?
But it's not like, if you have this lying around, like, you're an idiot.
Okay, yes,
When a
you're
child
you're
could
an
pick it up.
idiot, but that does not make a difference whether the gun looks like a normal gun or a toy gun. If it's a real gun and you're going to leave it laying around, you're the idiot.
Exactly.
So there needs to come a point where it becomes the personal responsibility and not the appearance of the weapon. If you own a gun, be a responsible gun owner and put it away. Well, I feel bad for those people that get killed by children who shoot them. Well, kind of your own goddamn fault for not putting the gun away.
And you have to have it locked up and stuff, don't you? Like,
No.
isn't that... Oh, yeah, because, like, you guys can carry and stuff, so it doesn't really...
You used to need a concealed carry permit here. Now you don't need a concealed carry. Most of the people that I work with carry a handgun in their car, just in the inside door.
Really?
Mm-hmm. They just keep it in that little compartment right there.
Isn't that weird? Like, wouldn't you be afraid that it would, like, shoot your butt or something? I don't know.
How would it like when you open the door, you know that little cubby compartment in the bottom left of the door?
That's used for garbage?
Correct.
Yeah. Sweet
Down
wrappers.
here, it is a mobile gun holster.
No.
I thought the glove compartment was for guns.
Yeah, but if somebody really pisses you off and you need to get that thing out and flash it,
This is easy access.
Is that
right
necessary? Is that really necessary to...
Well, if somebody's going to come up and carjack you, Tom, like, let's put this into a not ridiculous situation.
Okay.
If someone's coming up to carjack you,
Mm-hmm.
are you going to say, excuse me while I reach across into my glove box to pull out this gun to kill you?
No,
Or are you
I'm
just
going to say take the car because I don't want to get into a bad situation.
Yeah.
What if it's a sweet
No
car?
car is worth my life.
Yeah, and also I don't know if I could take somebody else's life, so I don't know why I couldn't have a
See,
firearm.
I went through that same thought process, but I think I explained to you castle law here in Arizona, where basically if you're at home or on your property and you feel as though somebody is threatening you on your property, so let's say if they're breaking in, you are fully within your right to shoot and kill them. And after having a family, if I were in that situation and somebody were coming into my house to threaten or injure my family, I would have no second thoughts about it. Not a single one.
God, it's just such a different mindset than what I'm familiar with.
Well, I mean, that's, to be quite honest, though, I don't want to say it's the American mindset, but it's that principle of this is your land, this is your property, you need to defend what you own. And if somebody's going to be dumb enough to break into somebody's house fully knowing that they could have a gun and shoot and kill them, well, then...
Yeah, I mean, the Arizona, by the sounds of it, is probably not your ideal place to be breaking into homes.
No.
Texas.
You know, it's your onus to defend your family. And, well, I would probably feel bad about it if you're going to come in and threaten, like, how do I know you don't have a gun?
Mm-hmm.
If it's going to be me or you, I promise you it will be you.
Yeah, it just creates this friction, like, about this. Does this person have something that could threaten me or not? It kind of creates a fear, I guess.
There was a news story down here last week. A guy broke into someone's house, set it on fire with them in it. The guy who owned the house came outside, shot the guy that set his house on fire, and then walked out. He's like, well, my house is on fire, but at least I got that guy.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, wow. I mean, I believe that you could, you've obviously thought about it, that you could do something like that.
I wouldn't want
know
to.
I couldn't.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I hope somebody breaks in someday, but I've got 2 kids. I'm not going to put them in a bad situation. If somebody is coming through the front door to harm my family, they will die, whether or not I have a gun.
But it's all mostly hypothetical, because which enemies have you made what would be the motive for somebody to come in and harm you?
Exactly. None.
So, yeah.
You talk shit about their game on factory seals.
Most people just want your TV.
Well, and that's what happened. Yeah. When I had just moved out, we were staying with my mom between our apartment and our house. We had moved out, and like 3 days later, somebody came and kicked the front door in and just ransacked the house. And it was at a time of day where I normally would have been home.
Yeah. Jeez. I remember you telling me about that.
So. You got a lot of mindset shifting to do, Mr. Reagan.
Oh, I just bring my mindset there and see what people think. I'm sure it'll be well received.
Canada.
I'm going to infect Arizona with the British anti-gun mentality. Forget the fact that Arizona is one of the most conservative states in the union.
Is it though? Is it still very conservative? I thought it kind of was somewhere. It was still conservative, but it was edging a little bit into the middle.
No.
It's
still a super conservative state.
That's fair. But you have like a massive influx of like diversity as well, right?
Yeah.
Like in Phoenix itself?
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. It's an interesting place.
It is. But back to the gun, the Nintendo Zapper gun. Did you guys watch the video about it?
With the voucher code, get some?
What? Oh, yeah. There's this old dude, probably late 50s, early 60s, dressed up as Mario. And you know those Halloween costumes that you can inflate and it looks like you're riding a dinosaur, where the top part of you is the rider and then the bottom part of you becomes the legs of the dinosaur? He had one of those, but it was like Yoshi. So he was Mario riding around on Yoshi, and he starts rapid firing this pistol into a steel plate. And around the middle of the video, one of the bullets ricochets back and punctures Yoshi, so he starts deflating. So he takes the Yoshi suit off and goes through this full execution of Yoshi. Just the most incredibly hilarious thing, because he's like, oh, he's my good pal, but I can't watch him suffer like this. He just executes him.
So
yeah,
those were legit bullets that like ricocheted.
Well, it was a shrapnel piece of a bullet that came back.
That still could have hit you in the eye, and then you lose an eye.
Worth it. Dressed up like Mario, riding Yoshi, shooting a real Nintendo Zapper gun. I mean, if that's not a sweet bar story, I don't know what is.
It's something.
It's like there was a video I saw once of a guy shooting that giant Barrett 50 cal sniper rifle and fired it, hit something, the full bullet ricocheted directly back and knocked his headphones off. Would have killed him if it had been an inch more to one side.
Just doesn't seem safe to me.
You want to go shooting, Tom?
You might as well just not have any guns. They sound like a big problem. They sound like they hurt people.
They can be dangerous. but they can also be
Guns
fun.
don't kill people. People kill people.
Yes. I forgot about that one.
Yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
I think Jeremy Clarkson said, it's when it comes to cars, it's not the speed that kills you, it's suddenly coming to a stop.
I like how you're using British words against Tom.
Yeah. I just wanted to put it into reference that he may understand. I know a lot of people don't like Jeremy Clarkson, but he's kind of my British hero.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Good old Jeremy.
Good old Jeremy.
Back on Amazon.
Is his new show on?
Yeah, Amazon Prime Instant
Amazon
Video.
Prime.
Yeah, we don't get it.
And then we've got new presenters now for the original show.
Oh, didn't they
Matt
get...
LeBlanc, don't you?
The what, sorry?
Matt LeBlanc?
Yeah.
From Friends,
Joey
right?
from Friends, as I called him.
Yeah.
And then a couple of other like presenters that have been well known over the years in the BBC, but I've not seen a single episode yet. I don't know, it doesn't sound like a good mix, to be honest, of presenters.
Well, when you
Those
had
three-
such a high class like
Yeah,
Richard,
they had good
Jeremy, and Hayes,
James.
Yeah,
they had a great camaraderie, and they had loads of really interesting episodes, like lots of high budget put into it as well. It made the most money for that network, for the BBC.
which is why I think it was kind
The
of dumb that
filming, though,
they
is
made an example out of Jeremy. Like, okay, I understand he punched somebody over a steak, but is that worth sacrificing the most successful show in BBC history?
Yeah, but it shows that if you didn't punish him, it would show that he was bigger than the show and that he could get away with anything he wanted
So
to.
kick him off the show
Yeah.
for a few episodes or whatever, but
Yeah.
don't, because by doing that they lost 2 other co-hosts.
Yeah, of course. It's one of those dilemmas, I guess. It depends where you stand, but yeah, a punishment of like a suspension of a number of episodes or a salary cut or something could have been a good idea. They did just tank a big show. But
I feel like they made the right call.
Yeah. It's a shame, but he'd actually done similar things before, like smaller things, and it all kind of led up to this, and we just kind of thought Jeremy's a bit of a firecracker, and
But it's what
we
makes
can't have him
so
let off
fun.
again.
It's what makes him so much fun.
He is a great presenter. You can't put talent like that down, and that's why, he was easily able to get a relationship with one of the cable networks or Netflix or Amazon, and
I think they were
imagine
in
he
a
had
bidding war.
Yeah.
definitely. So yeah, fair enough, and he is entertaining to watch. Like you can't take that away from him for sure. But I think the BBC, I mean, it's a state-funded thing. It's got to have a standard for the people. It's for the people.
Yeah, it's not like a private company that can just kind of...
We all fund it with our license fee. So
Your loss.
yeah. Well, we got Amazon. Still got
So
it.
I stayed up till 12:30 last night
Yep.
playing Dark Souls 3.
What a crazy guy. Is that even out?
It comes out today, but my buddy and I were able to get it yesterday.
Don't tell anyone.
He called me up and said, "Hey, we're able to get my copy and your copy at 9:00, but you need to be here at 8:30." Okay.
Whoa.
So I
Hilarious.
headed over to his house. I'm like, all right, let's hop in the car and go. He's like, why are we going to go in the car? Let's take the wheels. Okay,
Shut up.
let's go. So 8:30 at night, pitch dark, riding the wheels down to the store to get the games.
Oh my God.
Came
How
home.
far is the store?
About 1.5 miles, 2. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
1.5 miles, 2 miles maybe.
Right.
But get home and just get the full living room set. Oh, and we stopped at the grocery store to get beer, so we took backpacks so we could carry beer home.
Carry beer.
On the wheels.
Andrew,
Yes.
you're too cool for words.
I know. I mean, I can try. It's why I struggle to put things into verbalization. You just got to be there. But no, we set up the living room. It was like being 13 all over again and getting together with video game parties with your buddies. set up an extra TV in the living room, both hooked it up, and for the first hour, we put the game in, installed it, and then we just sat and read the strategy guide. Like, oh, how do we want to do this? It's the only game I do that with, because they change things up so drastically between the games and what the different stats do and how they scale things, and this is kind of a mishmash between all of the other games. It's like, well, I got to figure this out. Hour and a half later, we're finally playing.
Oh.
So,
and what do you think?
I have a suggestion. Before I get into that, I have a recommendation for guys out there. If you ever find a girl who, well, pregnant, and with a 2-year-old at home, allows you to go and have a video game sleepover at a friend's house.
A sleepover.
She's a keeper. My wife is a saint.
What
was her reaction?
She's like, because Austin called me, he's like, and he went through this whole thing. He got all excited, and I got all excited, and I had the door to my office open, and I yell out to Christy, like, Christy, get ready for big puppy dog eyes and a really big bottom lip. And she's like, I already heard it. That's fine. Go. All right.
It comes but once a year.
Oh, yeah. Well, the last Dark Souls game that came out, my daughter was born that day.
Oh, the very day?
The day. 3/11/14, Dark Souls 2.
Wow.
It would have been sweet.
And it sucked, unfortunately.
Yeah, you guys should plan this better.
How awesome would that be, like 30 years from now? The only way I remember your birthdays, girls, Ellie, you were born the day Dark Souls 2 came out, and you were born the day Dark Souls 3 came out. Missed it by 2 months. 3 months.
I know. Final Fantasy 15, perhaps?
No. July 10th.
Oh, so we're looking at...
Nothing. The summer slump.
The summer...
Nothing good came out the day you were born, so I have to just remember your birthday.
God's sake, Baby 2. Get it together.
We don't have a name for her yet.
Yeah, that's what I said, Baby 2.
I like that name.
Baby 2.0. Dark Souls 3 is sweet. Looks really good. It's kind of a great mesh between all of the Souls things that they did wrong in Dark Souls 2. They got rid of. It's definitely not a reinventing of the wheel, but it's like, hey guys, this is everything that's really good about the series. Here you go. And there are a lot of tiebacks to previous games. I'm not positive, but I walked into an area that is eerily similar to the Nexus from Demon's Souls. With a lady that looks a whole lot like the Maiden in Black.
Oh, wow. So it's like it's gone full circle to the original.
Correct.
But in terms of the Nexus.
There is a blacksmith in there. It's called Firelink Shrine from Dark Souls 1. So they're tying all of this stuff together. I'm not positive it's from Demon's Souls because that's technically not part of this. Mm-hmm. But it could be an homage.
Awesome.
So
I started Demon's Souls because I've never played any Souls games before.
I feel like this game is almost old enough to warrant some time on the show.
Yeah.
I could get into that.
Have you played it, Jess?
No. It's always been too overwhelming, I think.
It is only because of the conversation surrounding the series. You kind of end up, or at least in my experience, shying away from it. You know, the typical bullet points being that it's extremely difficult, very much unforgiving, and very long because of how long it's takes you to get through as a new player. But I had it on as a PSN Plus instant game download for free, and I thought, I've already played Bloodborne, and that was really difficult, and I only got like a couple of hours in. I'll give the Souls games a go. I'll see what they're like, because Eric's mentioned them a ton of times that he loves Demon's Souls, and that he'd even done a huge playthrough.
In love with Demon's Souls.
In love with Demon's Souls. My bad. And wrong verb.
Yeah.
And he'd even done, a huge playthrough series on YouTube in case I got stuck. So I've actually been referring to Eric's videos whenever I don't know where to go next. But
what a guy!
I know.
Going from Bloodborne to Demon Souls, yeah, I use this word loosely, but it is a bit easier. It's still hard as nails, but it's definitely it's a little bit easier, and it's probably mainly due to having some kind of strategy going in to begin with. But I'm really enjoying it, and it's aged well. Like, you play some PS3 games and you notice a real difference in like the frame rate and stuff. And I don't normally like to get bogged down with frame rate, but with certain games, you really notice the difference between 30 and 60. And yeah, it's not jerky or janky in any way. It plays really well.
Well, mechanically, the series hasn't changed much. The combat in Demon Souls is still the best out of the entire series. Coming from me, I'm a little biased towards Demon Souls.
Sure.
But Dark Souls 3 feels very similar to Demon Souls. Bloodborne was too different because it functionally changed the way you did combat because you didn't have a shield. So it completely eliminated that aspect of combat. Granted, you can play Demon Souls that way too, but it's fundamentally crucial to the game.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Having the shield to give yourself time between one-on-one encounters is a huge difference between that and Bloodborne. Just being able to take your time and use that to your advantage. It helps me. It's helped me progress through the game quicker. But I'm really enjoying it. As I said, like, I've just defeated the first boss, and I've started like pushing through, and then I keep dying at these certain sections, but then you just get better and you learn, and then the risk versus reward becomes greater, and that's what keeps you coming back for more. And
see, and the thing that really hooked me with Demon Souls was nobody, when it came out, knew what the hell this thing was. Nobody. Yeah. So it flew really far under the radar. My uncle and I were both looking for something new to play, and we was like, let's get this. I mean, it says we can play together, and little did we know you really couldn't. You could, but it was very, very, very difficult to do so. But in turn, we discovered this game that sparked hours upon hours of conversation, day after day, week after week, for months. We would call and talk to each other like, hey, what did you do in this section, or what did you find? And then we'd call and try to figure out what is happening, or best ways to go about this, or how to level up your gear, or do this or that. And there has not been a game that's come out, or a series that's come out since, that has generated that type of community. And I was not utilizing internet forums and wikis and things like that at this point back then. They didn't have a strategy guide for this game. So that's what sparked me into getting into the internet forums and figuring out, okay, what are other people doing? Not only between my uncle and I, but between me and other people. Suddenly there existed this game that everybody was just trying to work together to figure out what the hell it was.
Yeah.
How do you play it? What do you do? What does this do? And then the thing that's just guts me, that they removed from Dark Souls 1 to Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3, is the whole concept of soul and world tendency.
Yes.
Because, as you understand, there is a true punishment in that game for death. In the Souls games in general, they say dying is a punishment. Okay, great. Realistically, the only punishment is you lose some souls and a little bit of time grinding to get those souls back. Demon Souls, there is a physical punishment. The game physically gets harder when you die.
Yeah.
If you are in body form and you die, the world tendency plummets towards black and the enemies get harder.
That's hilarious.
So horrible.
So I gave Tom the brilliant advice of just play through in soul form. That way, if you die, the enemies don't get harder.
Yeah.
So
Go ahead. Will there be any points where I'll have to be in body form for whatever reason?
It depends on how much of the rest of the game you actually want to see. So there are world events that take place only when your soul and world tendency are at certain levels. So, for example, there is, I forget the name of the area, but there's one area where you have to have your soul tendency at pure white and your world tendency at pure white. Everything starts at neutral. The only way to get things to go up is to beat bosses while you're in body form.
Okay.
So you need to revert into body form, fight the boss, and beat the boss to get it to go towards pure white. You have to do that a few times, and then the world tendency will spike up. However, there is just that boot that comes down of, hey, if you fail, it plummets towards black, and you can never bring it back up. So the only time you could get that pure white world tendency event is on your next playthrough.
Wow.
So by the time I called it quits on Demon Souls, I'd seen everything. It's just, there's so much to it.
Yeah. No, you can see that. I really like that, going back to what you were saying about talking to other people, figuring out what their strategies were, how they were all beating this game together. I like that little element of togetherness where people have actually left messages in the game world to help you progress, like little hints. Like this is some brilliant ones. Like on one of them, you're just running down a corridor and there's a message and it just says left, and then moments later, there's a hidden enemy just around the corner on the left, just standing there.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, thanks for that little hint, buddy.
Well, and it's great, too, because it's subtle enough to, like, okay, is there treasure left? Is the path to the left? Is there an enemy to the left? Like, it makes you aware without giving it away.
Yeah, I like that.
That could be so, like, sad. Like, oh, yeah, I want this treasure. I'm so excited. Oh.
Well, and that's part of the thing, though, too, is you can actually troll people. And that's what was happening with Demon Souls at the beginning, was you'd come across this cliff. And there'd be a sign down there that say jump. And it would have a bunch of upvotes on it. And you're like, okay, maybe there's a path, maybe there's a ledge down there and you jump off and you died. So
terrible.
Then I believe the servers are still up. They were supposed to be shut down in 2012, but then that's when the Souls series really started to find its stride. And they're like, okay, but wait a minute, maybe we'll keep these on. Then you start delving into people invading your world and making the game even harder. So they can just pop into your world while you're just going about your own business and kill you.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Is that the same with Bloodborne? Same with all the other games?
Yes. Just pop on in, Red Phantom show up and fuck your day up.
Are they supposed to come in and help you, or are they...
No.
Or is that
you can summon people to come and help you. It's really hard to pull off in Demon Souls just because of the way the system was designed. If you want to just pull a random person, you can, but it entails that somebody geographically is close to you and they're within 10 levels.
Wow. So, yeah, pretty hard. Pretty unlikely you're going to find anyone.
Correct. So hopefully you'll be the first person that I've recommended the game to who's actually gotten quite a ways into it.
Yeah, we'll see.
Dan, by his own accord, thought he was near the end when he was still really close to the beginning.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm enjoying it so far, and the challenge is what keeps you kind of coming back. So
I'm pumped to get deeper into Dark Souls 3. I've got a good chunk of the day blocked off for that. Another game comes out today. The new Ratchet and Clank.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't come out here until the 20th, I think, maybe.
Oh, it is,
something like that.
by all accounts, getting rave reviews because of how it's handling the retelling of the original story. So, whereas most games just get a straight-up HD remake, where they take the original game like Final Fantasy X and just slap new textures on it, maybe change some music or whatever. Then you had Oddworld, which got an HD rebuild. This is an HD reimagining, which I think is setting a new bar for, like, guys, this is how it should be done. It is essentially the same story as the first Ratchet and Clank, but it's designed more to coincide with the movie. Now, the movie is a telling of the original story from the first game, but it's narrated through the eyes of Captain Quark. So it's told from a little bit different perspective, but with the game, they've changed some key elements and parts of the game that you might remember one way. So you pop in and you're like, oh, they changed this, and then you realize, I like this way better. So they jump in and they start messing with your memories of the game, which I think is fantastic because HD remakes play off of that whole nostalgia factor. Like, I popped in the Final Fantasy X remake and went, oh man, I'm back in high school. This is awesome.
Yeah, so true.
Whereas this one is supposed to be, I remember when I played this, and this is what happened when I played this, but now it's different, and I like this. So it's meshing the two. I think it's really interesting. I'm super excited to give it a shot. Yeah.
I just saw just now that it's, like you say, it's been given great reviews.
And it's only $40.
Yeah, I think I will pick that up. I've not played a decent platformer for a while.
So with that being said, I think we need to discuss this quickly. The movie, when does the movie come out for you guys?
No idea.
I think it comes out the 29th.
Yeah, I'm not too sure when it comes out in the UK.
So
or
I
a
think
worldwide theatrical release, perhaps. But
I think we should do a Ratchet and Clank show where we play through the original Ratchet and Clank, not the PS4 one, but the original PS2 or the HD remake, which is actually just the first game with better textures on it.
Oh, why not the PS4 one?
Because it's not the same game.
Oh, but then you have to play it twice.
That's a problem?
No.
Because then you'll be able to go through it and say, oh, cool, and compare the two.
That's true. You're not wrong.
But I think we should... I don't know if you guys want to. I'm going to go see the movie. I think that'd be for a great show, to play the game, see the movie, talk about some Ratchet and Clank.
The website is ridiculous.
Which one?
The Ratchet and Clank one. I think it might just be for their movie.
Is there a bunch of music? I don't want to click into it if there is.
There's a bunch of music.
Okay, then I won't click into it.
Hence the ridiculousness.
So
it says theatrically in the United States on April the 29th.
Yes.
Is that what you said? Yeah.
When is it out in the UK?
It just doesn't say. It could be a worldwide release. I would be guessing, to be honest.
We should do that.
It's out in the Netherlands on the 20th, so I don't know what that means.
That'll be a game or that'll be a movie I go and see with the old mumsy.
Oh, yeah?
She's a huge fan of Ratchet and Clank, too. I mean, she got an orange cat and named it Ratchet.
That's so cute.
And I renamed him to Ratchet Sauce.
Brilliant.
You guys want to do some emails?
Yeah.
You want to send us an email, factorysealed@manatank.com or podcast@factory-sealed.com.
Transition.
First email comes from John the Chinaman. You guys remember John the Chinaman?
Vaguely. No, I kind of do. I'm not sure when it was.
It was a while ago. It's good to hear from him. He writes in, John the Chinaman checking in. Great to hear the whole crew back together. Video game related, I wanted to ask if any of you have any love for fighting games. I don't think I've ever heard any mention of them on your show. With Street Fighter being rejuvenated the last few years, Smash Brothers staying relevant, and a steady crop of reboots/remakes, is there any chance for a fighting game show ever happening? Non-game related, I just want to back up the hell that is jet lag. Making regular trips to China and the U.S. East Coast for the last 10 years and experience a 12-hour time difference really leaves you zombified for days. Naps are to be avoided at all cost. Coffee is your friend. Keep up the great work, you slags. John.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad someone shares my jet lag issue.
I have yet to ever experience it.
Yeah.
On a substantial level.
He's very accurate in saying that you're totally zombified. It is a weird feeling.
When you fly back to the Midwest and it's only a 2-hour time difference, like, well, I guess I'm going to stay up till 2 a.m. instead of midnight, and it's really not that much of a difference.
Yeah. But yeah, fighting games. I was absolutely obsessed with Tekken 3 on the PS1.
I like Tekken 2 better.
I think it's more of just a time thing. Like Tekken 2, I had a demo of when I bought my PS1, I remember. And then Tekken 3 was the first full release Tekken that I could. It came at a time when it was my birthday, I think, and I got it. Played it non-stop with my brother to the point where I then had this great moment at university when I turned up at a house party, walked into the lounge, and there's like 10 people huddled around a TV and they're playing Tekken 3. And there was this one guy, and it was winner stays on. So he would beat somebody. That guy would then pass the control pad. It just went all around the room while people are just chatting and drinking. And I came into the room. I only knew one guy in there, but I sat down and somebody gave me the controller. It was like, "Do you want to go?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I'll give it a go." And like, I played this game obsessively. Like, there was 2 characters that nobody that I knew could beat me with, and I just like played this guy we did best of 5 rounds. And I beat him 3 times, and one of those rounds was a perfect.
Ooh.
And then I just put the control pad down, and then I walked out. And it was just like such a nerd boss feeling at the time.
You just walked into this random house party and blitzed everybody at Tekken 3 and walked out?
Blitzed everybody, yeah.
Did you just
and
mic drop the controller?
Yeah, basically.
You do know that there are probably still stories being told about you.
You never know. There's this guy. He was like, this guy who was beating everybody. He was so arrogant about being amazing at Tekken. It was his game, and he was just like, everyone just thought, "Oh, he's so good. Just kicks everybody's ass. He's awesome with all the characters. Can never beat him. Got no chance to get against him." And yeah, it was a good time. And also, I still play to this day Street Fighter 2 Turbo on my brother's SNES. Like, we constantly play Ryu versus Ken battles all the time. So I'm a massive fan of fighting games. I don't like the new ones so much. I think they've really lost their way. I think I bought the most recent Tekken on the PS3, and it didn't have any local versus, which was just insane. Like, you could only play it online, and trying to communicate that with my brother who's not familiar with online gaming. Like, "Oh yeah, no, we can't connect 2 control pads and play against each other. Sorry, that's not a thing anymore." He was like, "The fuck is this?"
That seems really broken. Like, the fundamental concept of fighting games, they took out.
Yeah.
It just makes no sense.
Sucks
and then
so
the
bad.
new Street Fighter, it's super watered down, and all the characters, like some of the main core characters of the series, aren't even in the core game.
Yeah. There's just too much shit going on the screen on the new Street Fighters. Like, there's just a ton of moves and just too much going on. Like, what I loved about the original Street Fighter 2 Turbo was the simplicity of just light kick, medium kick, heavy kick, and then you could form combos, and it was all about combination moves. And like, that was new for the time. It really people just dumped tons of quarters into the machines.
I remember reading about the development of Street Fighter and how the combo was actually incorporated by accident. It was not meant to be in the game. However, when they were playtesting it, they discovered you could continually kick.
Mm-hmm.
And it was basically a bug in the game that was meant to be taken out, but they discovered that it made the game more fun, so they left it in and actually designed the rest of the game around that core concept, and therein was born the concept of combos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's great. Like, every character has, I think, 3 kind of core specials, and then you have combinations surrounding that, and it's still a fighting game to this day that you can competitively play.
See, and arguably Street Fighter is my least favorite. I'm not a really big fan of fighting games in general. I get bored with them very, very quickly. The only one that I ever really had any interest in when I was a kid was Mortal Kombat, and I think that was more because of the fact that my mom didn't want me to play it.
Yeah, okay.
So I remember my uncle, he's about 10 years older than me, the same one I played Demon Souls with, convinced my mom to let him play Mortal Kombat with us. And this is the first one that was really cheesy. And it was great because we had a bunch of fun. My mom realized, like, okay, this really isn't that bad. Yeah, there are guts and gore and cutting heads and stuff off, but okay, it's really not that bad. However, I grew instantly bored with it because there wasn't enough variation in it. And moving forward, I would play, I'd play the Tekkens, but I don't think I really dumped much time into anything past Tekken 2 until last year when I started going over to my buddy's house and doing Smash Brother parties. So I tried Smash Bros when I was in college, hated it, just despised it. Like, this is dumb. And it could have been because I was still kind of on that anti-fighting game kick just in general. Like, I just walked into it not wanting to like it. And going to these house parties and playing 8-player Smash and just constantly getting my ass kicked. It was fun hanging out with friends, but it was still like, okay, I'm always losing. So I bought Christy the Wii U for Christmas and went, you know what, I'm just going to buy myself a copy of Smash Brothers and get good at it. And now, through months and months of playing and practice, I really enjoy it, and I'm able to hold my own in those.
So now you just beat on the person who's losing, like the tables have turned.
Correct.
I think I remember telling you I used to play a lot of Super Smash Bros. For the N64.
Yeah.
Used to play with a group of friends on that, and that was really fun fighting game. And I've never played one since until I visited you and played the Wii U version. It hasn't changed as much as you'd think, considering the amount of time that's gone by. It's still got the same core elements involved, just a ton more characters and way more bells and whistles.
I still really enjoy just doing no items, Omega stages, where you don't, because some of those stages in the new Smash Brothers on Wii U, there's too much shit going on, and I find that more often than not, I die due to some stupid random element of the map, as opposed to somebody actually killing me.
Yeah, which is annoying.
So I don't think that's a true test of like, hey, how good are you at Smash? Oh, you fell off the map because the map shifted. Haha, dumbass.
But I think that if you take that game seriously, like, you're not doing it right.
Oh no, we get super competitive and that's when some of the most just insane shit comes out of our mouth.
Oh yeah, like.
But I think that's what makes it fun. That you can talk a lot of smack, and there can be stupid issues, but that just kind of
we don't take it seriously.
The game.
Austin is arguably the best Smash Brothers player of anybody we know. Good. So when I beat him, which it does happen, I just lay into him, and he's humble enough to like, yeah, you got me. Like, what happened? It just he takes it, and that's what's cool. But when he beats me, he lets me know.
Oh yeah.
But it's back to the days of Mortal Kombat with my sister. I hated playing against her because she always took Sub-Zero and just did his freeze move over and over and over.
I managed to take out Eric's friend once, and for the first time in my life, I was called a British bitch.
You British bitch.
I never heard of that one before, but it was good. I liked it.
My mom actually beat Austin. Just complete accident. We were playing 8-player Smash, and it came down to my mom versus Austin in the end, and she ended up getting the best of him. And she had no clue. It was her first time ever playing.
Amazing.
That's hilarious.
I would. So, Eric, did you play Mortal Kombat on the SNES or the Genesis?
Mostly SNES. I have played the Genesis versions.
Because I thought I remember when all the sort of coverage around Mortal Kombat when it first released, because I think Blood Mode was only available for the Genesis. Because SNES was still having like very strict controls on mature content.
Yes. I believe that's with the first Mortal Kombat.
Ah, yeah, okay. So maybe when the second one dropped, they activated blood
But
mode for that.
Mortal Kombat will surprisingly come up later in the show after we're done talking about Night Trap.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
the two directly coincide with a major event in video game history, so it's kind of good that we're leading into that. Jess, are you a fan of fighting games?
No.
It's understandable.
Just
I mean,
no.
so when actually the month that Manitank fired up, I was out at Evo 2K with a friend who owned a company that was hosting it or sponsoring it, and the fighting game community is probably one of the nicest gaming communities out there.
Oh, yeah.
Super competitive,
Oh, yeah.
but everybody's super supportive, very friendly. They want to talk tactics. They want to teach you how to play. They want to bring as many people into this community. Pretty much the exact opposite of the MOBA community.
I've never met the MOBA community.
League of Legends is how many people can we get to leave? Whereas the fighting community is like, how many people can we get to play this with us?
Yeah.
See, that's what I think. Like, I like playing fighting games in a social environment, but I would never turn on a game if I wasn't playing with anyone else.
Correct.
Yeah. There was this amazing Evo video where it's, I forget the names of the players, unfortunately, but it was Ken versus Chun-Li, and Chun-Li gets Ken down to absolutely 0 health, and then Ken unleashes this huge attack and completely KOs Chun-Li and parries. Before that, parries 18 of her kicks.
Oh, yeah,
like,
her super special kicks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he parries every single one, which involves up, like blocking up and down as well as across, and then the crowd just goes insane. It's like a damn football game.
Oh, it was so much fun being there. It was an absolute riot.
Yeah,
and when all of those characters go into like their special moves, there's the big fat guy from Street Fighter. He has a special move where he throws his hands up. He's like, "Huh!" and slams people down. So whenever that animation would start, everybody in the audience would do that. It's just it's so much fun to watch. It's one of the few gaming conventions that I could probably see myself going back to just to be a part of the experience.
Yeah. Interestingly, the UK government has funded video games to be part of the next Olympics for esports.
Shut up.
Yeah, so the current
natural
entrants,
so
I think,
cool.
US, UK, Canada, and Brazil are the current countries that have entered teams, or at least started to enter teams for the esports in 2016.
That's so cool.
Yeah, natural progression, like you say.
We've got another email from Damon Sannow. Titled, Final Fantasy VII Remake question. Hey, FSP crew. Been listening since the beginning of the Manitank podcast. When Factory Sealed was formed, I listened to it as well for the first couple episodes. But since most of the retro games I can remember include nearly all the Crash Bandicoot games on PS1, I stopped listening because I didn't really relate to any of the memories you were having. Recently picked it up again after talking to Eric for a bit during the Manitank year-end live show. Don't know if it was noticeable. I was really shit-faced back then. Anyway, picked up Final Fantasy VII for PS4 and finished it within a week. I really enjoyed it. It isn't my favorite, but it is still a solid game after all these years. But now my question. Last week, news came out that the 7 remake won't be episodic like the Telltale games, but more like Final Fantasy 13. These were the first Final Fantasy games I played, so they kind of hold a special place in my heart. I saw this on Reddit and thought it was great news, but then read through your comments and just got confused by it. But since the 13 games are all separate stories, I interpreted it as Final Fantasy VII R1 would be like the main Final Fantasy game, and the others in the series would be other stories. But a lot of people on Reddit read it as the main game would be split up into separate parts. For example, Part 1 would end right after you either get out of Midgar or, 97 spoiler alert, Ares dies. I hope you could make sense out of this since I'm kind of lost on this topic. In case you already discussed it, I'd like to know if one of you is getting the Ultimate Collector's Edition for Final Fantasy 15. I know I am getting one of the 30,000. And what do you think about the action Square is taking to fight scalpers who ordered multiple UCEs? Love the show. Keep being awesome. Greetings from the Netherlands, Damon.
I did. I remember hearing about this news. It was like a direct quote from somebody at Square saying that it would be more like 13 and they'd have these 3 games. I don't know how I feel about that.
I still don't enjoy the concept that it's going to be broken up. Hopefully it doesn't take years between.
Mm-hmm.
What
That's
I'm hoping.
thing.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, like, whether it's episodic or separate discs at different times, it's still breaking up one story that's already been told.
Well, I'm still holding out, and I know Dan is as well, holding out for them to incorporate the events of Crisis Core. Because Crisis Core took place before Final Fantasy VII, and not many people have played that. So I could honestly see them incorporating that into this game. I don't think it would be a good idea to release the first episode as just all Crisis Core, and then like the next release would be the first half of 7, and then the third release would be the last half. I think there's going to be a meshing of the two, but where they're going to I just don't know where they would find the breaks in that, because the game has such fantastic pacing that you're going to get to a point you'll be like, all right, I'm ready for what's next. Oh, I have to wait.
Exactly. It feels entirely unnecessary, like to not just press it onto one disc and have this awesome remake, this rejuvenated classic game that everyone loves, and just do the same with 15, have deluxe and collector's editions, and make it a finished product. Your main audience is people that bought games in the 90s. You know, like, they're familiar with buying a product outright and having it there. So you're going to really disillusion like these people. I know it's trying to get a new audience, but the people buying Final Fantasy VII Remake, in my mind, are more the people who loved the original.
Correct.
And could I be wrong in that? You know?
No, I think you're right, but I
don't know.
I don't want to jump to too many conclusions on it, because I don't want to poop on anyone's parade. I'm still undeniably excited for it. I think it's going to do really well. I think Final Fantasy 15 is a turning point for the series. They were hoping that 12 would be that turning point, then it wasn't. They were hoping 14 would be, and it definitely wasn't until they rebuilt it. But 13 just universally was not loved. So I think 15 is really going to turn the series around. But for them to see how large of a scale they're doing 15, it makes me wonder, well, why aren't they doing that for 7 as well? Why do they need to break it up?
Exactly.
It was one of those announcements when I was watching the stream live, and I went, oh my God, this is happening. And like years and years of speculation and hoping, like, hey, this finally came true, and you're just on cloud 9, and they go, but, and you're just like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, exactly. And you can only really put this decision down to financials, I guess. That they feel like they can really, a game as iconic as that, they can really milk over the course of a 12-month period by releasing it episodically.
I think it's going to be, I don't think it's going to be 12 months like that. I think they're going to span this over years.
Yeah.
Like Final Fantasy 13, how long was it between each of those games? 2 years? 3 years?
That's a good point.
The first one came out in 2009. Then the next one came out in 12.
Yeah.
And then the last one came out in
2013.
13.
Yeah.
So 4 years. 4 years to release 3 games.
I think people would riot.
I think, like you said, they're going to have to look at where they break this up, like where they end that first game. And as it's a remake, there's a lot of extra bits they're going to have to put in to actually close off some threads before the following one comes out 1 to 2 years later. So maybe Crisis Core does have to play a part. You have to have Zack and Angeal and these other characters have to make an appearance.
That's the only thing I hope for. Like I don't care what else they do with the game. I want them to incorporate the true story of Zack and Angeal.
Yes.
Because there is so much cool shit that happened in Crisis Core.
Oh, it's a great game. I like we said before, can't believe there's not a port of that just yet on even on the PS3, because they did it with Peace Walker and it worked really well, having a PSP port over onto PS3.
Yeah. Even if they just did a straight up direct port, they wouldn't need to do. I mean, for God's sakes, they did an HD remake of Type 0,
Yeah.
which was only released in Japan and was originally designed as a cell phone game.
Yeah. Bizarre.
Bring Crisis Core.
Crisis Core has the Final Fantasy VII name in the title. That was definitely more of the obvious choice for me, but I don't know. It's still kind of speculation. It's interesting to see what happens. They have my money, frankly.
Yes. Dan, I actually sent that email over to Dan while he was en route to Australia and said, "Hey, what do you think about this?" So he wrote back. This is Dan's response. He's like, "I think Square hasn't helped themselves here. They should have announced this at the same time as the episodes, as a lot of people have already formed opinions thinking that because the game is broken up, it'll be worse. I see their point, but you have to remember that every game in the Final Fantasy 13 series is about 40 hours plus of high-quality cinematics and, in my opinion, good gameplay. Therefore, each episode of Final Fantasy VII Remake will be the same length, plus it also leaves the chance to expand upon the original game's convoluted plot. Personally, I'm just happy it's happening. Let's all just be optimistic. Eric, I know you're going to shit all over this, so do have fun." No, for once, I agree. I'm fully on board with it. I don't care how they break it up, as long as they don't do it at those pivotal points of like really big rising action. Boom, you got to wait 2 years. Like, just I don't like that. I want it to be full story arcs where it goes through. Here's this part of the story that we're going to tell, and it has a resolution at the end, and then the next game picks up, and they've got a resolution at the end of that, and then the third game, if they do break it into threes, is like, boom, this is the culmination of everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jess, you're not a Final Fantasy VII fan, are you?
No, I just haven't ever jumped in fully.
Are you going to play the remake?
I want to.
Okay. Do you have a PSP, Jess?
Yeah. I think I want to play the original first.
You should. It does not age well. Just be aware of that. It really doesn't age well. This is
but
like...
I think Dan would kill me if I didn't.
No, I think a lot of people would. But just know that this is pre Final Fantasy VIII style graphics, where it's still super hardcore pre-rendered backgrounds with really offsetting blocky character models.
Yeah, it's fine though. It runs well.
Oh yeah, it's still great. It doesn't change. The combat system is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, to answer the question on Final Fantasy 15, I was considering I'm not getting the collector's edition. I think they're all gone, right?
You're talking about the Ultimate Collector's Edition. Yeah, those sold out immediately.
Yeah. I looked at getting the deluxe version, which I think has the Blu-ray for
$90.
What's it called? Yeah.
Oh, for Kingsglaive.
Kingsglaive, yeah. With the steel case and all. I'm not sure.
That's the one that I pre-ordered. I got it. I have Amazon Prime, and with Prime you get 20% off pre-orders and guaranteed release date delivery. So
that's
really?
Fair enough.
Yeah. All of my new
wicked.
games I'm buying through Prime now.
Amazing.
I didn't know about the 20%.
So if you pre-order it and for 2 weeks following the release day, you get 20% off of the game.
Wow.
Plus free release day shipping. So right there, it's paid for itself in
that makes
3
sense.
games.
I think I'm probably leaning more towards the day one edition, but maybe if I'm feeling up to it, I'll grab the deluxe one.
Well, for me, like the difference between the two at $90 and $60 is a bit too much, but with that extra 20% off, it was another $10.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, for a sweet steel case with custom art and a copy of Kingsglaive, okay, whatever.
Sure. I think for me, after 10 years, I just want to play the game.
Correct. So his last bit in there, I get super frustrated when I see people buying limited runs of things and then trying to scalp them. So Hajime Tabata, the lead director, actually came out, and he's like, the people placing abnormal orders that suggest possible purchase for the purpose of reselling will be told that they will be dealt with severely in conformity with the agreement. Like, what the hell does that mean? But I like it. Quite honestly, I got screwed in an example kind of like this when the new 3DS Majora's Mask edition came out. I ordered 2 because I wanted to play one and I wanted to keep one sealed. I had zero intention of reselling it, and they canceled one of my orders for that very purpose. So I agree with that. I fully agree with that. Things that are going to be limited run, limit it to 1 per customer. So if they really want to screw people, then they have to do it once they see them selling it, instead of doing it up front. The only way I could have gotten 2 is like, okay, Christy, I need you to order 1.
Which I think is fair in that case.
Yeah. I think there needs to be an agreement.
Because it is someone else.
Correct. I think there needs to be an agreement with like Amazon and eBay and places like that, where if you see people price gouging these, just shut those auctions down.
Yeah.
Because all this does is it screws the fans, the people that really want it.
It does. It's a kind of a market dilemma, because as a merchant, I mean, you don't really care as long as the money's coming your way. But I'm all for the fans. Like, absolutely, if there's a way that they can make that work logistically, absolutely. Like, if you could have somebody sniping out these eBay auctions to prevent people reselling stuff. It's the same with like I can't stand it with concert tickets. Like, people just buy out everything and then they stick them on these resale websites for 4 times the face value. It's like,
and then you get places like Ticketmaster that actually host those resales.
Yeah,
you sold this ticket.
Ticketmaster is the worst.
Yeah,
it's like, you guys didn't even want to go and see this performer who I've wanted to see for years. You know, it's a real kick, and I think it's yeah,
not cheat. You're not trying hard enough. We've got another email from Sean McIntosh. He says, "Hey, Factory Sealed crew, I just had an idea in hopes of sparking a lively discussion. Each of you pick 5 consoles and your favorite game on each, along with 3 honorable mentions. If interested, here's mine. NES, Super Mario 3, Super Nintendo, Final Fantasy 6, N64, Mario 64, PlayStation, Final Fantasy Tactics, PlayStation 4, Rocket League. Honorable mentions: Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Castlevania Circle of the Moon, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
That is so much pressure.
Well, did you see? I sent this out to you a few days ago.
Apparently I didn't.
Do you guys not check email?
I got it.
I sent it out in an email and said, "Hey guys, put this together for the show."
I have a little list.
So, Jess, if you want, we'll come back to this after we talk about Night Trap. Give you some time to think. How's that?
Okay, I'm
so
good with that.
We're gonna put this on the back burner for a second.
Yeah, but thanks for your email.
Yes,
it's a good one.
Sorry, I messed it up.
Matt Ernie wrote in with a quick question. He's like, "What are your thoughts on video game themed tattoos? Can they be retro cool or just tacky? Would any of you ever get a video game tattoo, and what would it be? Or where would you place it? I have a Majora's Mask on the inside of my upper right arm. Take care, all."
I think if it's like any tattoo, as long as it's done well, like it's drawn well. For me, it'd have to be no words at all, just pretty flat and more of a symbol of the game that is maybe not so obvious. You know, but is personal to me, or something very specific that I liked about a game or a console that I really liked. You know what I mean?
Yes, it would have to be very highly done or very well done.
Yeah,
there's nothing worse than a shitty tattoo.
Yeah, definitely. Don't you have like a big Final Fantasy VII save point on your back?
Yes, I do. With the hand that says "New Game." No, I don't. To be honest, I thought for a while about getting tattoos. I think that's a natural thing that everybody thinks about once they hit their early 20s.
Yeah.
However, and this may alienate some people, I think it's a poor choice. If it's in a place that's visible.
Okay.
Because you're not always going to be 20. And this is really going to make me sound old and crotchety. But the real world does eventually come around, and you do have to be a part of it. You can still hold on to things that are important to you, and keep that as a core concept of who you are. But do know that we live in a world where people will judge you based on outward appearance. Whether or not that's right, completely irrelevant. People will judge you. So when you go for job interviews or these professional settings and you're tattooed and pierced up and you've got these big gauges in your ears and a sleeve down your arm, they don't care at all what statement you're trying to make or what those mean to you. They care how you fit into what this setting is. And to me, that was the big deterring factor was I do not want to jeopardize any potential opportunities down the road because of something I just want to do to make myself feel good now.
I guess it depends on the profession. Like if you're, I mean, I can understand maybe having tattoos, whether they're video game related or not, on your like on your hands or something, or in your like obvious places to see when you're going for something in a corporate environment. That's maybe not gonna go down well.
But if you're like IT or something.
But yeah, like in my industry, at least in the UK, I mean, tattoos, piercings, t-shirt, and coffee stained jeans is a pretty normal look. But that doesn't translate well in the corporate environment. So it just depends. And I think in terms of
as long as you if I were to get one, I would get it in a place that it wouldn't be super obvious all the time. Like it wouldn't be on my neck. It wouldn't be across my back. It'd be like on the inside of my arm or something like that.
Yeah.
Where I'd have to, but then again, like what's the point?
Yeah, sure.
But you're probably just not a tattoo person then.
No, not at all. Like I've never really had the super strong, like I've thought about it. I've been like, man, if I were to get one, but I always come back to like, no, I just don't want one. I mean, this may be cool to me now, but who's to say that I'm still going to like this in 10 years? I've got a buddy who has the Assassin's Creed symbol on his left forearm, really big. And he hates the series now. He got it after the first game because it was so cool.
Poor choice.
Like, I love this. And then the series took a shit. And he's like, I can't stand this series anymore. It's alienated me. And like, oh, hey, look what's on your forearm, buddy.
Yeah.
But like, I think at some point, and people usually say like, oh, when you get old, you're going to regret it or it's going to look crappy. But if you enjoyed it and it brought you happiness at least one part in your life, I think that it's not terrible even to look at it and be like, well, I really enjoyed it at that point. So
true.
Holding on to those feels.
As long as it's in a place you can cover up.
Yeah, I mean that. Yeah.
People that get I shouldn't say people. I mean guys
face
are little
tattoos are just never a good idea.
Face or neck tattoos, anything behind the ear, anything on the hands. Girls that get tattoos across the upper part of their chest. It's just to me that's weird. I
love the no regrets tattoo.
Oh God, I like the one that's out there recently about the anchor. I refuse to sink, and it's like, okay, great, you're not going to do your job. You're an anchor. You are designed to sink.
I think if you get a video game tattoo and it works for you, and you still look at it and it works, then all the power to you. I just couldn't find one that would suit me, I think.
If I did, it would have to be something from Final Fantasy.
Yeah, like maybe, I don't know, maybe that fireball in the background of some of the artwork on the boxes and stuff.
Yeah, like Squall and Rhinoa behind the logo on 18 or on 8.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Black and white. Get some. But yeah, good question.
So this week, we're an hour and a half in, and we're finally going to get to our game.
I don't think we're going to spend much time on it.
No. What do you guys think of having emails at the beginning of the show?
I'm liking it.
You liking it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I like it. How about you?
I'm still on the fence.
Yeah.
I'm still very, very, very on the fence. We'll see. If you want to send us your opinions, if you like it at the beginning, great. If you want us to move it back, okay, we'll think about it. But tell us why. I know it's kind of a sharp change, 95 episodes in. You guys believe we're at 95?
What a joke.
Oh, today is the 1-year anniversary since we brought Dan Curtis on.
Oh
wow.
man, and he's not here to talk about it either.
Dan Curtis.
Come on, defend yourself, Dan.
The show's been shit ever since. Good riddance. So this week. I'll find out when your anniversary is, Tom, and we'll celebrate it.
Yes.
This week, we originally set out to play Broken Sword, but then we all realized that game's really long. We need something a little bit shorter. By the way, it's Tuesday. We normally record on Sundays, and you have the show by Monday. It's just been a really weird week for scheduling, so we needed something really short. Since it was Tom's week, he decided to give us this crazy cult classic gem called Night Trap.
Ooh, yeah. Go, Tom.
Thomas.
Yeah.
What the hell is Night Trap? Now, okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Good question. Well, first of all, I should probably explain why I even picked it. I remember hearing about this game for years over the last God knows how long. Like, my brother had a Sega Mega Drive growing up, and we heard about this Mega CD peripheral that you could buy with these full motion video games that were supposedly, fourth wall breaking and really interesting, kind of state of the art technology at the time. And I remember hearing about this game called Night Trap, but like all this stuff was really expensive back then, and ultimately all those Sega peripherals just totally tanked.
Which is too bad because they were so cool. I mean, you could get the most monstrously hideous Sega system.
Yeah, because I remember like you had the Mega Drive, underneath it the Mega CD peripheral, and then on top of it like a 32X.
Wait, your Mega CD was underneath?
Yeah, it was like a whole unit that you put underneath you put the Mega Drive on top of it, like as if it was a VCR.
Ours was to the side of it.
Yeah, it was like a flip, wasn't it? It was like a flip open one, yeah. Ours was a tray that slid out. It's pretty cool. And yeah, Jess has just posted a picture of a million cartridges and
That's the
units.
picture I was looking
Yeah,
for.
I feel like it's made the rounds on Reddit and everything too.
What is so there's the Genesis, then the Sega CD, which was four times the size of the Genesis, the 32X.
Yeah.
What the hell is that above it?
I think you could also plug in things like a Mega Gear or something, or a Master Gear, something that would play Master System games, and then you could plug in a Master Gear into a Game Gear to play Master System games on your Sega Game Gear.
And then you could plug in the cleaning system, then a Game Genie, then Sonic and Knuckles, another different Sonic and Knuckles, and then Sonic 3.
Because, and Dan would probably correct me on this, I think you plugged in Sonic 3 or something into a 32X system, or Sonic and Knuckles, and it would put Knuckles in the Sonic 3 game or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a whole history about why they did that. It's quite interesting. Just Sega just doing everything they could to keep that moving, keep that Sonic cash cow flowing in the 90s. But yeah, so I heard about all this controversy surrounding Night Trap, and
well, let's save the controversy for after the game.
Well, I mean, that's how I heard about it. That's how most people heard about this game, was just, have you heard about Night Trap? Yeah, it's a weird game with like, trying to save like teenage girls and stuff. So yeah, we decided to play that for this week. I thought we'd relive it and and I'd never actually played it fully through. It's basically an interactive movie video game where, there's not a whole lot of controllable mechanics. You're kind of just moving through different rooms in the game, but you're just watching videos. So the game opens out with this full motion video cutscene where this RV pulls up in a woodland area, and you get this shot of somebody looking through binoculars towards a large house. And that turns out that it's a commander of the Sega Control Attack Team,
SCAT,
which is also known as SCAT.
Which really, really...
Well, okay, so this game originally was not intended for release on a Sega console. It was intended for release on a console called the Nemo, which never came out, but they'd already shot all of this stuff. So when Sega picked it up, they repurposed the game, reshot a few scenes to incorporate Sega, and that's where they had to include SCAT. There's a reference to Sega in here somewhere.
But SCAT.
Yeah, Poop Team. Team Poop.
Exactly. Team Poop.
Okay.
It was changed to Special once it was ported to other consoles. It's like Special Control Attack Team instead of Sega.
Which makes more sense.
Yeah. But yeah, this commander guy, who's pretty brutal, turns to face the camera and starts talking to you about your mission, which is that 5 teenage girls have previously disappeared from this house, and now another 5 girls are on their way to spend the night there, and it is your job to protect them. He then goes on to tell you that one of his intelligence agents belonging to the SCAT team found that there were cameras and a series of traps all over this house. And you've been enabled to use these cameras and traps within this house via your Genesis controller, which he shows to the camera, to keep these girls safe. He then goes on to tell you that one of his agents is undercover. One of the girls is undercover, and she'll supposedly throughout the game give you clues or perhaps, fill you in with some insider info as to what you're supposed to do next. And from there, the game opens out and you're displayed with a HUD, and this is where it starts. But did you guys, when I first played this, I watched that opening cutscene until the end.
And then when it just started over?
He was like, go on then, you're wasting time, you've got nothing, you've got to get out there and do it. And I just didn't press any buttons. And then he just looked at the camera and goes, it was your job to make those girls safe.
That happened.
You're clearly no good at your job. You're dismissed. And then he pulls the cable out of the Sega Genesis controller, and that's the end of the game. You can fail this game before you've even been involved in a moment's gameplay.
Well, I did it the opposite the first time because I was just like, get to the, we don't need to see anything. Let's just start the game. And then I was sitting there and I was like, what the hell is happening? So then I went back and watched it to the very end because I was like, I'm not missing anything. And then it was like, nope, you still fail. So good start.
If you don't watch that opening cutscene, the game is super confusing. You're just
the game itself is. I watched the cutscene, got to the game, and went, "The hell do I do?" It took me.
Yeah.
So I discovered as you click through. So there are 8 rooms that you can switch between. 2 different hallways: the living room, the kitchen, bedroom, bathroom, entryway. Driveway.
So
maybe
there's 8.
It's 8. Maybe I listed one that's not there.
There's
But anyway, I was clicking around in these and I discovered, there are people talking. It's like a 80s sitcom. So I sat and watched it. And then the SCAT team leader eventually comes on 8 minutes into it and goes, "You're terrible at your job." Disconnection.
Yeah.
What the hell is going on? So I did that probably 5 times. And then as I'm clicking through, I discovered, there are people in black suits breaking into the house. What do I do? And then 8 minutes in, boom, you're terrible at your job. We're pulling you out. And after a few times of that, I'm like, this is the first time I've ever physically not known how to play a game. I just didn't know how to play it.
Mm-hmm. I had exactly the same experience. I didn't actually press any buttons apart from B to get around the rooms. And then when I started toggling with C, I realized you could toggle something called an access code. And I still didn't understand what to do.
Oh, yeah, because when you leave to come into the house, it's like, this is our uplink by this cable, circle. And he circles it. If anybody cuts it, we'll lose control. I'm like, okay, that's going to be a big point of the game. Never came up again, ever. He's like, oh, by the way, the access code is blue. Okay, I'll leave it to blue.
Oh, did he tell you that? The access code is blue?
Yes.
See, I could never find out what the access code was.
I just started fiddling with the colors the first time right away, so that was not good.
So I eventually had to hop online and just read through some forums about how do you play this game. And it came down to... and I noticed as I was watching this cutscene, there was a counter that was ticking up. One said possible, the other said captured. And it just kept going up and up and up. Like, okay, so apparently I need to be capturing people. Like, I put that together. And then as I was clicking through the rooms, I'd see these people breaking in, and I'd make that correlation of, oh, these are the people that are causing the possible to go up. How do I capture them? I just didn't know. So that's where I had to go online and read. You have this meter. When you're on those screens with the people in black, affectionately known as augers, popping into the game, there's a meter that bounces up. It's
sound, I guess.
Yeah, and when they get to a certain spot in each of the screens, you can press a button that opens the trapdoor, but only if your access code is the correct color. Yeah. And what happens is there are so many augers throughout the game. So the augers are coming in to try to attack and capture the girls. The access code will randomly change throughout the game. However, if too many augers get into the house, you get pulled from the mission. So you spend 100% of your time in this game jumping through the rooms to look for these augers, but you have a very small window. And the access code is only revealed through certain plot points at certain times.
Yeah, and that was the thing, because you're flipping through so quickly, and all of a sudden your access code doesn't work, and you're like, well, just gonna try them all.
And you've got and at that point you're missing augers, and the counter is going up.
Yep. Because on your HUD display you have possible and captured.
Yep.
And the possible number just ticks up as you discover more people, right? So you know exactly how many are in the house at any time. And my numbers just kept going up and up, and I was like, oh man, I'm getting so overran here.
So the augers, let's talk about them for a second. Talk about the worst
acting.
They're supposed to be monsters who feast on human blood. The storyline goes that the owners of this house are vampires who capture people, drain their blood, bottle it, and feed it to the augers.
Yep.
Yes.
But the augers are getting hungry and break into the house because they know these girls are here.
Yep. So weird.
The vampires don't really like the augers.
No, but they have a symbiotic relationship.
They weren't impressed they were coming in the house, and I think that's what was stupid.
They don't look. They look more like handicapped special forces people, and less like monsters. I mean, they walk. They walk with this goofy ape-like limp.
Yeah, a really stereotypical walk of somebody sneaking around in a house.
Yeah, not scary in the least. And each room has 2 or 3 different traps, depending on the angle of the room. You start to learn, here's where the trap is, and you just wait for him to walk over, press the button, and it flips into the cutscene where they drop into the floor or get sucked up by a bookcase, or a wall comes out and kicks them out the side.
Yeah, the first time I played Night Trap, though, I was super passive, where I just was watching all of the clips.
Yep.
And paying no attention to the guys running around. So I watched the entire scene of the girls putting on like this karaoke thing where they were just like singing a song called Night Trap.
And that, like, so stupid. Never in my, like, almost 30 years of being a girl have I ever been in a moment as ridiculously scripted as that.
It was really bad acting. I mean, the only other game that gives this a run for its money in terms of poor acting is the opening cutscene for the original Resident Evil.
Oh, yeah.
It is really bad. I mean, even by 80s sitcom standards, it's bad.
Yeah.
But what's surprising is the budget for this game was enormous. Like $1.5 million.
Oh, shit. I didn't know it was that big.
It's colossal for a game that takes
2 hours to beat? Maybe 1.5 hours?
By the counter, if you do not pause the game at all, you're done in 25 minutes.
Yeah. I think maybe you can squeeze an extra 25 minutes by watching more of the clips, because there's about an hour and a half worth of clips on there.
So when I got to the end, I discovered I had watched 0 of the clips. So there are a total of 95 augers that you have to capture.
Yeah.
And
95?
There's 95. I captured 81 of them.
Wow.
Shit. I only captured like 15.
Oh, Jesus.
I was really bad at it. I never knew what the access code was, and I was getting pretty frustrated.
I made it my goal to find the augers.
Do they randomly change it? Like each time you play the game, the new access code is something different?
I was trying to figure that out, because I went through after I was done and I watched all the cutscenes because somebody on YouTube had compiled them. I watched them all, and it sounded like the voicing was a little different for when they were saying the codes. So I'm like, oh, mine was this color at that time, so I think it might be different.
Yeah,
okay.
I believe it is different, because I couldn't follow any kind of, because I was trying to get off to a good start where I just couldn't capture anybody. Like, all right, so what's the first code then? Just give me the first one and I'll figure it out from there. And yeah, sure enough, it's different every bloody time.
So, Jess, I know you might have to jump out early, but the main point of us really wanting to wait to have you on this show is this game is largely responsible for a lot of the regulations that we have in place in the video game industry today. In 92, this game was at the center of a massive video game violence controversy that ended up on the Senate floor. So we had Senate Judiciary Committees, like people like Joe Lieberman and Herbert Cole, talking about Night Trap and citing that, hey, video games are trending towards marketing violence and other adult content to minors. And a large part of that was Night Trap, Mortal Kombat, and for some reason, Bucky O'Hare.
Billy.
Wow.
Billy? What?
That's so... No, like Bucky O'Hare is your jam, isn't it?
Yeah, but who's Billy?
Oh, I said really.
Oh, I thought you said Billy.
That you could just cut out.
Yes, yeah. So, I guess.
So weird.
What are your thoughts about, like, why did this happen? Because in 92, we have to pull ourselves back from, like, we live in a society where they're just largely accepted. Everybody plays games in some capacity. In 92, games are still seen as something for kids. So, here comes Night Trap, which isn't really that violent, but It features predominantly women. Most of them are barely clothed, or what they're wearing is considered to be skimpy.
Yeah.
They're being watched by hidden cameras.
Yeah.
Eaten by vampires.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's, I guess, at the time.
Well, it's a very, like, I want to say, like, parents' worst nightmare also of, like, a girls' weekend gone bad. Because you have, even just all of those separate things I think are terrifying. Like, you're at a house and there's hidden cameras all over the place. That's terrifying to begin with. Plus, then you have the murdering of the vampires and the augurs in, like, really bizarre ways. And then
falling through a hole in the floor or being pushed out through a catapulting bed.
Yeah,
I like the bookshelf that moved.
Here are some of the quotes used to describe Night Trap on the Senate floor. Sick, disgusting, shameful, and my favorite, ultra-violent. They put this alongside games like Mortal Kombat and Doom.
Yeah.
This game is anything but
So
sick,
tame.
disgusting, shameful, and ultra-violent. It's cheesy, really hard to play, hilarious, and short.
Yeah, and my biggest thing with Night Trap is that they were trying to suggest that there was a lot of suggestion that you as the gamer were deliberately harming women, but it is your job to save them. So your role...
But then the dude said that to you too. If you let, like, the bathroom girl,
Lisa,
if you didn't hit the traps right away, he was like, you just let her die.
And that was one scene that was particularly singled out over and over and over.
Yes.
And people were saying, hey, this is encouraging people to attack women. It's like a classic example of taking something out of context. Instead of looking at the game as a whole, like, you're here to save these people.
But I watched that scene because I captured the augurs when it was happening.
Yeah.
But to me, like, all that happens in that scene is that they surround her, grab her, and one puts, like, looks like a
weird claw
dog
thing.
hook type of thing around her neck. And then that's it. Like, you don't see, I was expecting this, like, really gory scene, but...
So apparently there are a bunch of different endings based on who you save. Lisa, you have to save because she's the undercover one. The other people you can...
I thought that was Kelly.
Is it
Kelly, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Kelly you have to save. If you let her die, it's game over. Everybody else you can let die, but it affects your ending.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Yeah, it was just... And I wonder, too, like, I'm trying to think of any movies back then that would have had a similar plot, and I'm sure there are.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just it is very tame. Like, the only thing you see, I think, she's being kind of dragged out, and she's just there's nothing. I mean, there's obviously something maybe implied, but it just doesn't seem such a big deal. But it must just be a sign of the times.
Like, it's a creepy situation. Like, I think that's everyone's, like...
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess one of my problems was with the guys in suits in this courtroom, and they'd never actually played the thing they're talking about. They'd not played Night Trap, so they're like reading these quotes off pieces of paper and assuming this is extreme violence. What are we teaching our kids? It's like, you should really form your own opinion and play it. You may come to the same one, but you should play it.
It's basically just a
it.
classic example of people parroting what other people are saying. It's an example of this. We see it in modern day as well of people getting offended over stuff because other people are getting offended over it. It's just that pack mentality of, well, this offends you, so it offends me too because it offends you, and let's make a big stink about this and not really think. I mean, the process of the concept of thought is just slowly leaving people.
But we're like, R.L. Stein books, those are around that time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Were those, like, I
Goosebumps?
can't remember.
No, I don't think those
if
were
they
ever
were
considered.
banned or something, or
Oh, really? I loved those books when I was a kid.
I know, but they were like super violent,
Yeah, I guess they were a little bit when I think about it now.
like
Um,
compared to
but
Night Trap, like
but
they
it's
would
funny,
have been
like
the worst things ever.
this just seems to be. I mean, there's totally different rules for literature because I mean, you can pick up a lot of books in the fiction section of a bookstore, and it'll have all sorts of like just terrible stuff in it. But anyone could
Yeah.
buy that book and read it.
Well,
It's
I
just
think I think the key difference here is that in the early 90s, video games had not exploded into the mainstream.
yeah,
Yes,
They were still seen as predominantly something you give to your children to play after school and on the weekends to keep them occupied.
as toys essentially.
Yes, not much different than playing Legos. It was just something that a lot of people didn't understand. It hadn't broken through as this fantastic medium for storytelling.
like as an art form.
Yes. So I think that's kind of at the core of the controversy here. So opinion aside, I can see where they were coming from. However, they didn't do their due diligence as human beings to form a legitimate thought.
Yeah,
And also, like, not to judge a book by its cover, but you have this girl in a crop top on the front with vampire fangs behind her called Night Trap. You think as a parent you might be like, maybe not.
Well, and it comes down to, I saw this time and time again as working at GameStop. Ultimately, it is the parent's responsibility to dictate what their kids get to play.
Yeah.
Every time I'd see parents come in and buy Grand Theft Auto for their kids, it's like, and now I know exactly why the kids that... Okay, I'm going to back up. I don't want to paint with a broad brush, but your kid may be mature enough in your own eyes to handle this, but it's rated mature for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you as
absolutely.
a parent really want to allow your child to experience this?
yeah,
And more often than not, when I would get those games and it was rated mature, by policy at that time, I had to make the parent aware of it and tell them why it was rated mature. So I'm like, so here's this game. You can hire a hooker to have oral sex in a car and then kill her when you're done and get your money back. And the parents would look at the kid and go, you're not getting this.
yeah. It's good that you were able to inform that. You know,
Jess, you have to leave, right? Or did she already leave?
I'm still here.
Oh, okay. You need to leave?
Yeah. But I finished the list. So I'm going to message it to
Okay.
you.
We'll just call you Aaron Robinson.
I know. But rough.
Is that a dog?
Now I am. Oh, I got a motorcycle on the weekend, so I totally am.
Oh, God, an escalator accident.
Ah!
That's not
He
fun.
needs to come on for the 100th.
I already talked to him about it.
Yes.
excellent.
Cool.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye, Jess.
Goodbye, Jess.
So, fun fact about Night
Yeah.
Trap. According to one of the designers, Night Trap is directly responsible for the creation of the series called Pets. P-E-T-Z.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He was super ashamed that his game was being paraded around by the media as this terrible product for children. So as a result, he set out to make something so insanely cute and adorable. And his own quote, the most sissy game he could possibly make.
Wow, that's big as well. Am I right? Pets?
Yeah.
That's a pretty big franchise. Fair enough. I mean, that's the way to do it, I guess. Or just come out with a, hey, you thought that was bad? Wait did you get a load of this?
It's just a game full of dicks.
It's just Manhunt combined with GTA, combined with
Sneaking around in
Nitro.
girls' locker rooms.
Yeah, just the most gratuitous shit you ever saw.
I think what's important to take away from Night Trap is that this game along with Mortal Kombat, Bucky O'Hare, Doom, and other controversial games of that time, paved the way for something that I think has been really beneficial for the industry.
Oh, yeah,
the
absolutely.
ESRB, which at the time, I believe it was called, I want to say it was the IDSA, Interactive Digital Software Association, I think.
Okay.
Which formed into the ESRB that we know today of, what's this rated? Rated M for mature. Great. And it became this panel of, you need to submit your game with all this content, and then we're going to give it a rating.
Europe does it a little bit differently. So I know you guys have the ESRB, which is, am I right in saying it's teen, mature? Is there another one as well? Everyone, I guess?
Yeah, there's E, there's T.
T for teen?
T. I don't know.
Is that M for mature, and maybe is there X perhaps? If it's
There's AO, which is adult only. So here they are. There's early childhood, which is EC. There's everyone, which is E. Everyone 10 plus, which is E10 plus. T for teen, M for mature, AO for adults only. Okay.
So in Europe it's 3, 7, 12, 16, and 18, which is just ages. But also underneath that box, there are like these other small squares, and they are reference to bad language, discrimination, drugs, fear, gambling, sex, violence, and whether the game is online or not. So a parent can make a further informed decision. If the game's like a 12, but it may contain like some mild reference of drugs or violence, they can better make a decision on that.
Yeah, there's a huge list of content descriptors that the ESRB uses.
Oh, okay, so same thing.
Like alcohol reference, fantasy violence, lyrics, mature humor, nudity, partial nudity, violence references. Just a huge list of that stuff. The unfortunate thing is that a lot of parents don't read that. They just say, "Oh, my kid's mature enough. I mean, we're going to take them to see all these R-rated movies. So we're going to let them play R-rated games." It just gutted me when I would see parents buying games like that for their kids.
Yeah, I worked in the game store too, and I saw the same thing. And it is gutting. It's like, this is bad. I mean, I know this game. Like looking at GTA 4 or something, like I know how bad this one is. And you look at the kid, and he's not even tall enough to see you over the counter, you know.
But then again, put yourself in that kid's shoes.
Oh yeah, like don't get me wrong. I remember borrowing the original Grand Theft Auto off somebody at school and hiding it in my bedroom, and I'd play it when everyone had gone to bed on the lowest volume. And then as soon as I heard any footsteps outside, just quickly switched it off. Like I was not allowed that game.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a great story now because it's like that kind of adolescence, that kind of feeling.
I think everybody should be allowed to make decisions for their children, but I don't think any child is going to be mature enough to comprehend and process properly what you're doing in some of those games, especially not an 8-year-old. When I was teaching fifth grade, it was not uncommon for my kids to come into class talking about just these hyper-violent games, and they'd be reenacting this stuff and talking about this stuff like this is just normal. And maybe back in the mid-90s it was a little different because things weren't as realistic, they weren't as hyper-violent. Nowadays, things are borderline reality. You're interacting with other people. It's a lot more graphic. That line between fiction and reality is being blurred even more. So I think the onus is a little bit more on the parents. Like, you need to know what your kids are playing. Video games are not a babysitter.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. Informing the parents is always got to... That's the best you can do. And with the European age stuff, they've actually started making the number even bigger on the box. So it's like 18 in huge digits, and on the back, like they're doing the best they can. Like at the end of the day, if a parent's going to buy it, that's up to them. But yeah, like you said, it's been a hugely beneficial thing to have in gaming for it to match up with film.
Would you recommend anybody play Night Trap?
It's interesting for sure. It is weird.
I'm gonna say no.
play it from like if you're interested in the history of the evolution of gaming in a sense, because we're starting to see more of that kind of stuff, like interactive FMVs and things like this is kind of where it all started, and it
was done by Digital Pictures, who is known for FMV development games like Sewer Shark and Corpse Killer, but in the mid-90s everyone's like, this shit's really kind of dumb.
But
it was so poorly done.
Oh, absolutely. As a fun, interesting game, like that's worth a lot of your time, I would ultimately not recommend it.
No.
So
let's go back to our question from Sean.
Oh, yeah.
Have you put together a list?
I have got a list, and I've got some honorable mentions too.
Okay.
So I'll go through my list. I picked Street Fighter 2 Turbo for the SNES.
Mm-hmm.
Streets of Rage for the Mega Drive.
Okay.
Final Fantasy VIII for PS1.
Okay.
Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty for PS2.
Ooh.
And Heavy Rain for PS3.
Those are your 5 consoles and 5 games?
Yeah. And then the honorable mentions would be Driver for PS1.
Interesting choice.
Max Payne for PS2. Because I love that game. And Tales of Vesperia for 360.
Man, what an interesting list.
Yeah. So, what about yours?
So, first, the Game Boy, Link's Awakening.
Oh, wow, okay.
PS2, Dark Cloud 2.
Mm-hmm.
PlayStation 1, Final Fantasy VIII.
Oh, yeah.
Super Nintendo, Illusion of Gaia.
Huh.
PlayStation 3, Demon Souls. Naturally.
Cool. Yeah.
And then I have a few honorable mentions. I picked 4. For the PlayStation, Alundra.
Oh, great RPG.
Yes, totally. The N64, Space Station Silicon Valley.
Space Station Silicon Valley?
Yes, sir.
Never heard of it.
It is awesome. We tried to do a show on it a couple years ago, and nobody really played a substantial amount of it, so we may have to revisit that one.
Okay.
I also picked Metal Gear Solid, Final Fantasy Tactics, kind of as a slash. Like, I couldn't choose between the two.
That's fair enough. I was finding it hard to choose which Metal Gear, so that's why one of them I had to drop the original, despite the fact the original is probably my favorite.
Jess messaged us her list, and it's a themed list. We'll see if you can pick up the theme. Nintendo, Super Mario 3, Super Nintendo, Super Mario World, N64, Ocarina of Time, a Game Boy Color, Pokemon Yellow, 3DS Link Between Worlds.
Yeah. I'm sensing a Nintendo theme.
Yes. She must have grown up Nintendo.
And yet you look at, and that's, because it's interesting, you look at my list, I have one Nintendo console in there.
Paste me your list really quick. I want to see it.
So, yeah, my list, the only Nintendo game is one we talked about earlier, Super Street Fighter. Street Fighter 2 Turbo, sorry.
So I thought about putting on there Mega Man 2 for the NES. But
of course, yeah.
You know what? I mean, he only gave us 5 consoles to work with.
Damn it, Sean.
I mean, naturally that's on my list. I listed mine as uniques instead of honorable mentions. Like, these games are unique enough that people... I guess Metal Gear Solid's not unique, but Tactics is. Obviously, Mega Man 2 is on there. I just forgot to type it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. You should have just known that.
Yes.
Streets of Rage, huh?
The thing is, I'm not just picking the best game that I think critically, it's more just the one that most resonates with me at that time when that console was around.
Yes.
And the memories that are attached to it, like something that really brings that good feeling. Like Streets of Rage, That's me coming home from school, going into my brother's room, because that's where the Mega Drive was, and playing Streets of Rage co-op with my dad, who never played games, but he did play Streets of Rage.
Yeah.
Streets of Rage 2 Turbo, that's playing the SNES with my brother and just having every single fight go down to the wire. Metal Gear 2, that tank demo, that original Tank Hanger demo, was just insane. Like Snake's bandana moving in the wind, and like it being so windy that the rain was moving across the screen, holding up guards and stuff to get items from them. It was just really cool. Final Fantasy VIII was like Christmas Day, I remember, and then Heavy Rain just blew me away. Like storytelling and graphically, it just was.
See, and that's
really
kind
cool.
of the same reason I chose the games I did. Like Link's Awakening, I have very fond memories of this game exposing me to just how powerful portable gaming can be. You know, taking this thing with me to different family functions, and I have really strong memories of every aspect of that game. And Dark Cloud 2, I was still poor enough at that time to not be able to buy it, but I had enough money to occasionally rent it for 5 or 6 days. Had I just saved the money, I could have bought it. I rented the thing like 5 or 6 times in a row, which was $30 right there. I could have just put that aside and asked my mom for some money. Final Fantasy VIII, I was spending a weekend with my grandma, and she bought me the game, and we were staying out at her lake house and just sitting. I'd taken the small TV and put it out where I could see the lake, and I was just sitting there playing Final Fantasy VIII out by the lake. Illusion of Gaia was the first game I cognitively remember purchasing with my own money. My mom took me to the store, went back, got the game. As I got up to the register, I opened my wallet, and my money was gone. I had dropped it somewhere. So my mom bought it for me because she knew how long I'd saved up. I don't know what kind of pinch that put her in, because she didn't have a whole ton of money. And then PS3 Demon Souls for obvious reasons. So
Makes sense.
I chose those games. I mean, Mega Man should be on the list because it's one of my favorites of all time, but like these ones had specific impressionable memories of why I chose them.
Yeah, and when you're having to think back across all consoles, it's those specific titles, for whatever reason, that stick out. They're the ones that are more deserving as a place on your list.
I'm not
over
saying
something
these
with
are the
critical
best
acclaim.
games of all time. These are not my top 5 favorite games. These are just, like you said, they stick out for some reason. Because all I did was I wrote out a list of every console I ever owned and just instantly filled it in with the game that I associate with that console.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a good question. I like that.
Yeah, really good.
Throw
Took some thought.
us your suggestions or your lists either on our Facebook page, facebook.com/factorysealed, or shoot them to us in an email.
Oh, yeah.
Tom, I think... Oh, go ahead.
I need to ask you something.
Okay.
I need to ask you on what is your idea behind the Jeeves box?
Oh, that has to be done off the air.
Okay, fine.
You actually just dropped a pretty big spoiler.
It was a spoiler, but it didn't give that much away.
It whetted the appetite.
Yeah.
I will tell you about that after the show.
Excellent.
We are going to be taking a week off this week because we need to find a way to push our 100th episode by 1 week. And the only way we can do that is to take a week off. And since it's already Tuesday and there's really not enough time to play anything substantial, we're taking a week off. So we will not be back next week. We will be back after that. Dan will not be back until the second week of May.
Whew.
So I don't even know. I haven't even looked at our list what we're playing next. We'll shoot that out on Facebook.
We'll figure it out.
Thomas, where can we find you on Twitter?
You can find me at Hyperjelly.
You can find me at Honest Pizza. If you want to find Jess, she's at I am a Jess. We also have Factory Sealed on Twitter at factory_sealed or facebook.com/factorysealed. We're starting to push out some more of our Factory Sealed Relives, which is our own kind of goofy reviews of the games that we play. You can find that at factory-sealed.com. I think that's going to do it for this week, Tom. Any closing thoughts?
No. Stay safe.
Stay safe. We will see you all in 2 weeks.
Tatty bye.
Bye.